An assessment rubric is a key tool in education for accountability, for you as a teacher, but more importantly, for communicating with the learners in terms of what is expected of them and the challenges that they need to engage in their learning. So what we've tried to do here is to develop an ESD assessment rubric, and as a tool for reviewing the knowledge in context, the knowledge-mediated ESD competences, and to do this in a way that you communicate with the learners and the learners have a sense of what they are challenged to achieve. So what we try to do is to give you some starting points and work with Bloom's taxonomy and then expand that into significant learning. So it's a bit of a hodgepodge, constructed hierarchically and developed as a source of ideas. That's what I found it useful for. So we normally start with the foundation keywords and concepts that the learners need to master, and then we look at being able to understand and apply the knowledge with case evidence. And here, keywords are the students are able to name, label, list, define, and you can develop activities that you can use this lower end rubric to engage the learners in the basics that they need. And then, of course, as you move up, you want them to be able to integrate their subject knowledge and skills in problem solving. You want them to be able to look at competences in relation to human and ecological dimensions of a concern, or you want them to exhibit sensitivity and empathy in terms of the ethical dimensions. Now, one would never use all of these, but you can look at a number of these, and here are the keywords that might be relevant: able to apply, demonstrate, interpret, judge, discuss, explain, illustrate, etc. And then, upping the game, you want them to be able to analyze, evaluate, and innovate around these, the resolution of sustainability concerns. Or you want them to exhibit a reflexive competence to think deeply about complex concerns. You want them to develop a capability in systems thinking, problem solving, and critical thinking. And then a whole lot of personal capabilities: reflexive modes of action, anticipation, being able to judge norms, being able to be strategic, being able to collaborate with others, and self-awareness. And here are some of the higher order skills and competencies that you can use for a rubric that you communicate with the learners. Now, of course, you can move on then to a simpler mode that you can put up in your classroom for assessment. And this has been developed by Professor Shumba, Caleb Mandekonsa, and Hela Lotska-Sasitka based on D. Fink's work as an expansion of Bloom, as I described earlier on in the assessment module. And it's quite useful to have this up in a classroom so that the students are able to think about their thinking and think about their learning. And they're looking at, okay, so what knowledge have I grasped now? How am I going to apply this? How does it integrate? What are the human and ecological dimensions that I'm looking at? What are the ethical concerns of care? And how can I plan work in a group so that we're learning how to learn together? So hopefully these two simple tools will be useful to you in your lesson planning. I often start with assessment when I'm planning a learning program, and then refine it as the learning program evolves. So all of the best in planning your lessons. This is by no means comprehensive, but it is starting points and ideas that you can work on in the development of the rubrics so that the learners see them as tools to guide their learning, and so that you're accountable for the teaching that you're doing.